Welcome to the Now. I'm Ashley.
I'm John.
Has the Switch's success made Nintendo mad with that we need to insert some spooky like echo or something? That'd be really fun.
A werewolf howl.
Ooh. There are some new rumblings about some incredibly ambitious production plans for the console. It sounds like they're pretty convinced they've now got another huge hit on their hands. Because seriously, they're thinking about making a lot of Switches.
Yep, it's another edition of Nothing Can Stop the Switch Train on the No.
Wouldn't be the No if it wasn't.
Yeah, it's better than talking about, loot crates and stuff. It's obvious that the Switch is currently selling like crazy, but is Nintendo putting their foot on the gas just a little bit too quickly after what happened with the Wii U? And while their software lineup for 2017 can probably be included in a list of all-time great first-year titles, can their 2018 calendar support the same momentum?
It can if they just put out Animal Crossing. Just saying, I'm just saying. Nintendo's crazy plans come from the Wall Street Journal as reporting that Nintendo is expecting to produce between 25 and 30 million units in the next fiscal year, starting in March 2018. That's a huge uptick in the number. That's like tripling the number of consoles they're making.
If that happens, by April of 2019, Nintendo will have shipped a total of 50 million Switches, which would make it by far the fastest selling Nintendo console ever.
And the Wii sold like crazy.
Yeah, yes it did. And probably one of the fastest selling consoles ever, considering the PS4 is on pace for that title, and it took that console just over 3 years to hit its 50 million mark.
Right, so this story from very long-time industry reporter Takashi Mochizuki doesn't quote any Nintendo folks on the record, but cites people with direct knowledge of the matter who say the company has deepening confidence in the success of the device.
Yeah, which means they're thinking it's going to surpass Wii-like territory, and they're not the only ones.
No,
but
a lot of people kind of think that.
More on that in a second. By comparison, it took the Wii 3 years to ship 50 million units. The plan is still in the early stages, according to the article, and Nintendo could decide to aim even higher.
Higher?
Yeah, apparently the plan rests on how well the Switch does during the coming holiday season.
Yeah, and that's been one of the more interesting stories leading into this season. We all know the Switch has sold as more than 7.6 million units since its launch in March. That was with supply units that plagued the console for the first several months. However, they seem to be getting over those in recent weeks in particular. They've been nearly doubling their output as we head into the holidays. Last month, the company said it was planning on selling 9.1 million more Switches by March of 2018, which means that if that's true, the Switch will have sold almost 17 million units in its first year. That's huge.
That's a lot. And while that's ambitious, there's no denying that the Switch has had a strong start out of the gate.
Both commercially and critically.
Yeah, while some people wrote the Switch off feeling like it couldn't compete with either traditional consoles or tablets, consumers felt otherwise, and it's been selling like the hotcakes.
Hotcakes. But it's not just Nintendo who feels like the Switch is going to be a hit. One analyst apparently feels like the Switch will be an all-time record-setting console for them. Now, for a quick comparison, the Wii, its current all-time champ, sold more than 101 million consoles. That's a lot of consoles.
It's a lot.
And Nomura Securities analyst Junko Yamamura predicts that the Switch is going to sell 115.8 million units by March of 2023. That'd put it second only to the PlayStation 2, which, in terms of traditional consoles, that one sold 155 million units. That's so many PS2s.
That's so funny that the PS2 did that. The PS2 is the only PlayStation I've ever bought.
Well, you are clearly the 150 million. All of them.
Part of the change is that some analysts have reclassified the Switch from a traditional console to a handheld device. What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it changes what it is, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
The mindset of who the console is for is what changes.
Okay.
A traditional console would be expected to sell one per house, but handhelds are more like one per person, so that's a big difference.
Right, no sharing. No sharing. It sounds like that's the direction Nintendo is now thinking themselves based on some comments made last month by President Tatsumi Kimishima. At the time, Kimishima indicated the company was going to start focusing more on the handheld aspect and marketing it as a personal device rather than as a home console. I mean, it still does both, but the mindset of, say, do you share your 3DS is different from do you share your Wii. You probably share your home console. You probably don't want to share your handheld, right?
I had to share a Game Boy with my brother. It sucked. Yeah. Of course, Games are ultimately what move a console, and the Switch has had a crazy lineup of games for a first-year console. Super Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild are both Game of the Year contenders.
Strong contenders.
Yeah, and then there's also Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, just to name a few.
And those are all fantastic titles. But can next year's lineup live up to 2017's? I mean, it's hard to see that happening. So far, we do know there is going to be a Kirby game,
yes!
A new No More Heroes game, Travis Strikes Again, an untitled Fire Emblem game of some kind.
Give me that squishy marshmallow boy.
Hey, so there's, it's a start.
We also know that Metroid Prime 4 and the next Pokemon game could land in 2018, but so far Nintendo hasn't committed to that.
I mean, personal speculation entirely. I feel like both of those are probably more 2019 titles.
Yeah, I'm agree
But
with you on
that's
that.
just me. I would love to see both those titles in 2018.
Although, given the way the lineup looks right now, it wouldn't be much of a surprise for Nintendo to agree that one of those has to come out in 2018 to bolster the lineup.
There's also no doubt some surprises in store for us in 2018 as well. So Animal Crossing Pocket Camp comes out this month. It actually came out already if you're in Australia, or if you have an Australian iTunes account. So a lot of us are now wondering if we can expect an Animal Crossing proper for the Switch itself. So far, most of Nintendo's mobile titles have heralded the release of future games, but they haven't said a peep yet. So we're still waiting.
Ashley's still waiting.
Ashley's still waiting.
There's also the chance of a Smash Brothers game next year. And Pikmin, Donkey Kong, and Star Fox are some of their other franchises that haven't quite been tapped for the Switch just yet either. I want a Donkey Kong game.
That would be great. It really would. I do want new entries in all those franchises. Also, personally, F-Zero, but that's just me.
Just call it Donkey Kong 64 2. And last but not least, there's still the Virtual Console, which has some huge potential to drive more Switch sales, depending on how big Nintendo goes with the rollout.
Or at this point when that even happens.
Yeah.
Now with all these crazy numbers for Nintendo, it is important to consider the Wii U also had a pretty decent start at first. The console knocked out nearly 3 million sales in its first quarter that it launched. Then it stalled after the launch window because, well, there wasn't a lot coming out for it, and you know how that goes. Thing ultimately doomed, abandoned pretty quick.
Yeah. However, Nintendo also says that the Wii U is part of what makes the Switch a success, mostly because of the lessons they learned.
I can see that.
Yeah, Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aimé said as much in an interview with CNN, saying, "We worked hard for the Nintendo Switch to make it crystal clear what the proposition is. It's a home system that you can take on the go, play anywhere with anyone, and that's resonating."
Yeah, he went on in that interview to talk about the launch games, how they crafted the first year of releases, how the Switch is also getting more third-party support than its predecessor. All positive ingredients.
Yeah, after all this, there doesn't seem to be any question that the Switch is going to crush the Wii U in terms of sales.
Like maybe in its first year.
Yeah, it might even be on par with the Wii's numbers. The question now is whether it's going to rise to meet Nintendo's newly adjusted ambitions.
Well, that's definitely a big Switch.
I don't like this joke.
Yes, for them, so they're changing their outlook on the console from what has been pretty conservative to, hey, let's sell 50 million in 2 years. So we'll see if the gamble pays off.
Hey, what do you guys think of the reports that Nintendo is going to go buck wild on Switch productions? Let us know in the comments.
I'm picturing like cowboys. For future updates on just how many friggin' Switches people are constantly buying, remember to like this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to the know. To the PlayStation 2 in terms of traditional consoles, which PlayStation 2 sold 150-50. Well, that's definitely big. Switch.
No.
For them, yes. Changing their outlook on the console from, at first it was pretty conservative. It was like, let's sell 50 million into, damn it. Fuck.